Welcome back to Factorio. Yes, I said Factorio. It's not satisfactory. It is higher resolution than previous, but it is still Factorio. Okay, don't run. It's fine. It's a good game. And we're in Factorio because Satisfactory is currently updating, moving all the stuff from experimental into the regular early access build. So if you were playing around or deciding not to play around with the experimental build, I should say, it's all about to hit your, or probably by the time this video gets released, it's already out. It's all in your main early access version. So you get all the conveyor lifts, the explorer vehicles, the quartz, everything else. So while they're actually going and doing that, I thought we'd get back to Factorio and take a quick look at where we left off. So as a brief reminder, because unless you're watching this in series in the playlist, it's been a couple of months, we were basically left at this point where we needed to get production science packs. We've made 4 and there's now 5 available because I just finished the research of it. So here's our 4 science. It's all coming into this side and we've got enough, I suppose. But it's Factorio, you never have enough. And that's because we don't have enough green circuits to make everything else. We need a lot more green circuits. So I'm going to be doing that off camera, but before we actually get to skipping through the off camera parts, the stuff that we can just show here on camera is production science packs, is a different recipe than previous versions of Factorio. It is rail, it is electric furnaces, and it's productivity modules. And I think certainly the rail's new, and probably the productivity module is new in that. I'm not sure about the electric furnace. Regardless, those need a few other bits and pieces. Productivity modules are the easiest ones compared to our existing products that we're already making, which is red and green circuits of equal number. And they, take 15 seconds. So we're not going to be mass producing these to a huge degree, but we are going to need to constantly produce them. So we need a good supply of electronic circuits, i.e. green circuits and red circuits. We're making a small amount here, sort of trivial amounts for our science packs, and we need to scale that up, which is going to start putting more stress on the green circuits, because that's what you always end up being short of in the early game. The other thing we are going to need is rail and electric furnaces. Now, electric furnaces are actually the easier ones. That just needs red circuits we're already making in small amounts, steel plate and stone bricks. Steel plate is right here coming down. If you remember, if I just go onto my map, we have here our steel factory, and here we have our iron. They both come down here, down the main bus, and that's where I'm stood at the moment. Off to the side here is this stone patch, and we could make use of that to actually make a couple of things. One, we can make the rail, because the rail requires stone, it requires steel plate and iron sticks. Okay, and the furnace requires steel plate, stone bricks, and red circuits. So the only thing of those that's just weird is the red circuits. And for the other thing, for the modules, we need red circuits and green circuits. So by the time we get down here somewhere, and this also has plastic involved to make the red circuits. So we are making that fairly quickly, but there's only 4 of these. So we could scale it up quite easily. As long as we have enough copper coming through, the plastic is fine for the moment. And we actually only need the red circuits from this point onwards. So we can just send out more red circuits that way and then use them. We have a line here, or half a line for red and green circuits. We can pull off another, offshoot if we want to. So red and green are managed there for the modules. We can sort that out. Which means we need somewhere where we deal with steel, we deal with iron, and we deal with stone. Now, I don't think we have another area of stone easily accessible. One all the way over there. I don't particularly want to go that far. There's one right underneath our steel manufacturing, and there's one right where we're actually using it for stone itself. So it almost seems like we should export at least the stone, if not the stone bricks, because we can always make stone bricks. That's straightforward. We just put it through a furnace. So if we export the stone, we can send it back across or down onto a belt or something like that, and send it down towards an area where we're going to be making the purple science. And then we've got to bring purple science back up to the top and get it to the labs. Now, if you have a look up here, you can see at the very top right corner, the labs already have 2 belts next to them. So what we'll need to do is decide whether we either want to have another belt running something like this, I need to make more of those. And then running on this side, which is what I'm probably going to do, or you need to have some other setup where you get stuff to the labs. At the end of the day, that tends to look awful. We don't have sort of extendable inserters, not the actual customizable ones from a mod. So having just the regular ones means that we probably should have something along this sort of line and get more belt. But you get the idea. We're just going to send it right here, that way, times 2. And in fact, we don't need 2. We only need 1 line, I think. Yeah, there's only 6 packs total, so we don't need that second one, really. And we'll just insert like normal. And just if we want more labs, we just extend it out sideways, and away we go. So let me just put down a few of those things, and we'll come back and then show you what I've done. So this shouldn't be terribly hard to do. Let's go with rail first, because it's actually one of the simpler ones. We just need iron sticks, and we need stones and steel plate. Well, we're getting stone, and I'll put that onto a new belt. Let's bring it coming down through our factory. And of course, we can use that to make stone bricks later. But right now, we just need to combine it onto one belt, just half a belt each. And that should do the job, apart from we need to reserve space for another belt for the iron sticks. So we should make sure we put that down. And then, of course, we can decide to put this wherever we like. We can probably just move it over here a little bit, just so that we have some space. And then we can tell it to make rail. Rail is going to be straightforward. And that will be that. So the output line is probably going to be down here. Seems reasonable. And on there is going to be rail once everything's done. So let's just put in some inserters and get some power going. We can probably just borrow this. We can't get it to both. Well, I suppose we can go down the other side. If I go this way, it should cover both, and then we can connect up a straight line. Good. All right, so we can just repeat that along the other side. For iron sticks, it's going to be particularly straightforward. 1 iron plate is good enough for iron sticks. So for that, just to grab it from this side, we can just make some room somewhere. Doesn't really much matter where. So let's just go for here, put it in a splitter, and send this over to the other side. And I'm going to make some more of those. And on this side, we're going to be bringing it across from here, and then just putting it through. Again, more assembly machines. Nothing too excessive. I just want to make sure it's not too far, not too close to the rest of the bus. So let's just put down, probably just 1 will actually do the job, to be honest. But we'll have 2 available. And we just want 1 stick. Okay. And then we can just bring across our input belt. And then just feed it back this way or something like that. Oops. So that goes the right way. There we go. And for now, that will do the job. We just need to make sure it just feeds in, which it is right on now. Okay, so that's that sorted. That should start producing, I think. Is there anything else we need for this? No, I want to say that seems to be fine. Let's just take a look. Yep, they're on. They're all going to start producing, and we've got rails. So that's the first ingredient of our purple science. Production science, whatever you want to call it. Let's see. We want to probably look at electric furnaces. Electric furnaces are going to be handy regardless, so we're not just going to want to do them for the purple science. We're also going to want them because they're very useful for us to upgrade our original furnace setups, because they take a little bit more space on the ground. However, they also don't require coal, which means we can use coal for other purposes. And the good thing here is I can handcraft some of these, because we're going to use this rather than using stone furnaces. We're going to just use electric furnaces to make more electric furnaces. So we're going to need steel plates, we're going to need stone bricks, and we're going to need red circuits. Now, red circuits are made up here, so if I can extend this outwards and then pull a branch of that back off and around, we can bring it down here and have everything done. Or we can think about maybe putting the red circuits onto the main belt. However, we have already got an offshoot here for red circuits going to blue circuits. And blue circuits are actually short of something at the moment. What are you actually short of? Sulfuric acid, which I'll sort later. But we do have 80 blue circuits. So from here, we could pull that off again, or we could send this down, not on the main belt, but you get the idea. We could just basically have an offshoot belt. Whoops. Helps if you actually get a belt that is... Why do you not like that? There you go. Okay, so we can have this belt going here and going this way. And then we can bring it down along this kind of line. Ends up being quite nice and neat and fits with where our existing factory is. So that's all good with me. I'm going to head down this way. We're going to go over the top and into craft. I'm always needing underground belts at this particular point in the game. And we'll get a U crafted. And we'll bring them down to probably around about here. Now, do we actually need more of one thing than another? We require 10 steel plate, 5 advanced circuits, and 10 stone brick. So, yeah. If I'm going to get these onto 2 belts at least, then we're going to need to have at least a few of each. So we'll leave that for now. Let's talk about the stone brick first and get that sorted. So if we have our electric furnaces now, which we do, you see they're actually larger than steel furnaces, 3x3, as I've said before. So we probably want to make stone bricks for them. And we can also bring in steel at that particular point. So if we put them here, can we actually connect through and over the top of this? Do we have enough room? Let's wait for a second for that to finish. There we go. Yep, it does connect fine. So if we connect that back to, I think, our main bus connectivity, that will do. So they're available. Do I want to send stuff down or up? I think I want to send stuff down. Yeah. So I think we'll go through the top of this one and go this way. So if we just go there, that's roughly the right level. And we're just going to use probably only even one of these, but I just tend to put these things down in pairs, just in case we actually need it. I'm not anticipating needing more brick or stone after this point, but I'm just going to make a splitter anyway, just because it helps for modularity later. And let's again just put 2 down, even though we probably don't need those. And this should be fine. So will you now smelt? You will. And that's going to change into stone brick. Good. So stone brick can come on the outside. And at this point, you can decide what to actually do for the steel. For me, because it's not really resolvable on 2 belts, it doesn't really matter that much what we actually do with the steel. So if we just bring it in over here, we can actually put it onto the top of this line right here. And you get the idea, we can just bring it over through and under the other belts. So let's just grab some more underground. There we go. And then we can bring it in here and get another splitter. And that will be steel. Steel is going to come underneath onto this side. This is going to output stone brick onto the far side, so they'll both merge onto one belt quite neatly. And then we have, coming in over here, we have the red circuits, so we can bring those down. And let's leave one space just in case for flexibility in the future, and bring them over this way, where they will not be joining, but they'll be getting pretty close. There we go. And then we can merge both of those together by manufacturing them, basically. So we can just put them wherever we want. Let's just say here for now. And then we want the recipe. So we want to be able to make, first of all, electric furnaces, which is good anyway, because when these go onto an output, what I think I'd like to do is just have a brief split, just a nice little splitter somewhere, doesn't matter where, and just have that just be picked up by a box. Because I'd just like half of them potentially to be put into a box that we can just pop back and pick up. So let's just grab, I don't know, maybe 4 stacks probably total. And then we'll connect everything up. And should we connect up this way? Yeah, we should. There we go. And we will unfortunately also need the long-handed inserters. And these are probably the wrong way around for doing that. So we'll just use a couple more long-headed inserters to compensate for the fact that we're going to have to reach over for 2 different products. And these will reach over for 1, ideally the other way around, but it doesn't matter. So, at least not for now. So stone bricks should go in once they catch up. There they go. They're starting to build the first set. So out of this line, we're going to get our stone furnaces and rail right here. So that's 2 out of 3. Productivity modules, where are you? So there we go. We're getting at those 2. We're going to need a lot more rail than the other 2. So we don't want to merge rail line with these 2. We want to merge the last line, the productivity module, basically with the electric furnace line. So it's going to come in here, whoops, here, and merge that way. Okay. And how are we going to do that? Well, I think all we actually need is red circuits and green circuits. And what do we have here? We have red circuits. So we can just grab that, pop them in, and tell them to make productivity modules, please. So 1 there. And later you need productivity modules and speed modules and other stuff like that for other purposes. For right now, I'm not too bothered about them. And do we have enough space to get this perfectly online? Be nice if we did. We're going to have an output line down here as well, so I'm going to need to have 2 lines like that. But if we run this backwards, ooh, it just about fits. Okay, and there we have everything. We just need the splitter. And you're done. Okay. Now, right now down here, we've got a full line because I put in a lot of other copper, a lot of other green circuits. And that will be starving other things like the copper line and the iron line. But if you have a look up here, it's still not enough. I still need a lot more. But it's good enough for now. You'll see I've got 8 clusters going of 5 assembly machines. How are we doing for power? How are we doing for power? Fine. Okay. So I'm not too bothered. And that's good. So yeah, we've got basically each half of these clusters is feeding onto the top half of a belt and the bottom half of a belt, and they're merging around about here and feeding back out. So we're fine with those. We're actually just short on sulfuric acid, so I'll go back and fix that later. Fine. So now we have pretty much all the ingredients I think that we want. We're going to be short on red circuits, obviously, here. And that's because we're short on the sulfuric acid, I think. No, hang on. Sulfuric acid is blue. What are we short on for red? Plastics. And plastics is still coming in, so it just needs to be improved a little bit by some scaling. We'll go back and do that after the episode. Right, so here we are. We've got the furnaces. We've got productivity modules maybe happening. Let's just bring... Oops, we actually don't need that side. We need inputs from this side, and we need long-headed inserters for the other side because they're going to reach over and grab those red circuits. And they need 5 of each, so equivalent speed will be fine. And let's get going with those. So let's just feed these with nicely aligned power poles. Okay. And then finally, of course, we're going to get the end product, and that's going to need the long head inserters as well, just to feed them out. And once that's done, so they'll need 5 each, and they're more than happy keeping up with that actual pace. It does take a while to make modules, to be honest. It's not something that is terribly quick, at least not when we're at this few machines. And you'll see we've already got furnaces there. So if we've already got furnaces and we've already got our productivity modules, all we need to do is merge them in next to each other. Why have you stopped? Why are you making me rail? Oh, yes, we need more long head inserters. Because they need to reach over and grab the other product. Of course they do. And they probably need to do that more because they're reaching over for 2 products. I've got that wrong twice in one episode. Okay, so I just need to grab something for more long head inserters, which is just iron. And I'm just short of some iron, so let's just grab it off the belt. And grab some off the belt here. In fact, do we even have any iron gear wheels in here? Yeah, a few, but not enough. And that will do. We probably also want to start thinking about upgrading to red tier stuff soon, but not just yet. And are we now ready for some long end inserters? Hopefully we are. Yep, looks like we are. Okay, so what was I looking at? Was I missing those inserters from... It's the rail, isn't it? Yep. So let's get that sorted. There we go. That should be enough to feed these two machines, and easy to scale up. Remember, we need 30 of this stuff, so it depends just how much stuff comes through. Finally, we just need to get basically the purple science, and that is trivial-ish. Just go via the middle and get some more power poles. Tell this to make our science, i.e. the production science pack. We extend both of these. And this time, oh, I still get it the wrong way around. There's still two products on the far line. Okay. Ignore me. There we go. Okay, so we should have some power now. And we have some production science packs. Or we will have in a second. There we go. Some more long-head inserters just to even this out. And again, when you're messing everything together like this, don't worry too much about exact ratios. You can fix that later once you actually start to produce stuff. In our case, I'm going to be able to go back and pick up some electric furnaces whenever I want some. So I've got 19 there. So whenever I want to, I can go back up to our furnace setup and eliminate the coal. This line of coal we have coming down the factory will only really be affected by, I think, the coal power plants at that point. So all is good. And out here, we want to make sure we're feeding out the output onto this line. And this line can go all the way up the top and underneath and out to the labs. And before someone comments, yes, it is possible with the labs to pass the science packs from inserter to inserter through the labs. So you don't necessarily need to always do this. You can just, as long as you could feed them into one lab, you can sort of feed them going towards the labs and then feed them through the labs to other labs. And by the time we're actually finished doing that, it sort of gets a little bit messy and sort of horrid. So I would rather avoid that if possible and just directly feed into them. And there go our first batch of purple science packs, and they're going to go all the way up to the top and into the labs. That's all connected now, so we don't have to look at that anymore. That does then enable us a bunch of different stuff. So once we have the purple science packs, one, we can get Logistics 3. We haven't even done Logistics 2. We haven't even gone to red tier. However, we can also get to coal liquefaction. So turn coal into oil products, and given that we've now eliminated the need for coal if we rebuild our furnaces, that's good. Automation 3, yellow assembly machines. That's probably one of the more important ones. I do like the ability to have yellow ones. Yellow assembly machines, that is. And then effect transmission, yeah, that'll become more important later game than earlier game. And then there is lots of stuff that we haven't got to yet because we've got to unlock earlier stuff. So if we just, we're just researching mining productivity for lack of other stuff at the moment. For lack of the stuff for me to think about. It's just an easy one to choose. What are we doing with robots? So not combat robotics, because we're playing on a largely peaceful world, but worker robots, cargo size, military 3, well, yeah, I suppose. What does that actually lead to in terms of robotics? Anything? It's normally the sort of armor stuff. Yeah, armor stuff is through there, so power armor. Combat robotics. So we're not too worried about bots. We've already got construction robotics and logistics robotics. So we have the basic recipes needed for a bot network. And that's one of the things you should be thinking about around about this time of game. It'd be nice for your bot network to supply you with the stuff that you actually want. Of course, you do actually need to go and build them. So for bots, you need to have a very specific sort of set of recipes. So let's just look at bots. We're not going to do this episode, but this is probably going to be the next episode, as and when we make one, depending on what Satisfactory is like, and depending on whether you want to see more Factorio. Do let me know in the comments below if you prefer just to see Satisfactory. Obviously, Factorio is a great game too. It really should be. So we have construction robots and logistics robots. Again, those are just red and green science. Circuits, not science. Flying robot frames is the thing that they need apart from those, though. And roboports is red. Circuits, iron and steel, nothing excessive in there. However, the flying robot frame needs a couple of other things. It needs batteries and it needs electric engine units. Now, batteries we may already be doing. Did I actually do that in the previous episode? It's been a couple of months, so I can't remember whether I actually went all the way through. I thought I did. And if I did, they'll be down here. Yep. So we do have batteries. And I did put them in through in a pass-through buffer, so they will, once I fix the whole sulfuric acid issue, I'm going to find out what that actually is now in a second. We have the batteries available, but we don't have the electric engine units. We are making regular engine units, I think, and shipping them somewhere. Yep, there they are. And that's the component for electric engine units, well, one of them. So electric engine units needs the regular engine units, lubricant, and again, green circuits. Now you know why I'm doing so much scaling on green circuits. Lubricant as well, though, and lubricant will just come from our oil. And I'm not sure if we're actually making it yet. I think I started out with a very early oil setup. Yeah, that's not the cracking recipe. That is just the regular one. So let's take a look at what we actually need here. We're short on petroleum, presumably. Yep. Petroleum to empty. What is actually full in here? Have we just filled up the tanks? That's the usual problem. In that if you don't get... Yeah, all these... Yeah, they're all full. So we've just been making lots and lots and lots and lots of solid fuel, and we don't really have much more in the way of storage for said solid fuel. So easiest way to just deal with that is just to put in more boxes. Steel chests in this case. So 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll... 6? 6, yeah. And we'll sort it out that way. Okay, and then we'll just put in some inserters. Get those through. In fact, let's just put fast inserters in. Okay. And we'll put it this side and then get belt running through that way. So pass-through buffers will actually unstick everything. They should basically take in all the light oil, all the heavy oil, and unfortunately we have no lubricant because we're not actually making it yet. But you know, that'll come fairly soon. It's very, very trivial to actually add that. And in fact, if we have the... Yeah, we have the other recipe. We have the original one, which just takes crude oil and produces those products. So 30, 30, 40. This one produces 10, 45, 55. So much more petroleum, which is good, but it does take in the water. And we need water to actually do that. Now, thankfully, I already planned for that, I'm going to say, because I have a water line right here. So we're going to be able to pull this water line across and just wipe out one of these two inputs. I never remember which of the two inputs is water and which one is actually oil, but we'll figure that out next episode. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Put in your comments down below on what you'd like to see in future, particularly on the channel, for various different Factory type games. And we'll see you next episode for some more Factorio. And of course, Satisfactory. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and for subscribe and share if you haven't already. Click on the bell if you want notifications, and we'll see you next time.